Atëherë po hapim programin e sotëm të natës së Palestinës. Programi sotën së natës së Palestinës do t'i dedikohet dy çështjeve madhore që kanë bëjnë me çështjen palestineze. Ato çështje janë jashtë quajtur marrëveshje e shekullit që presidenti Trump po kërkon të bëjë me palestinezët. Sipas të quajturës marrëveshje të shekullit, presidenti Trump, administrata evangeliste amerikane, kërkon që t'i japi fund një herë mirë çështjes palestineze. Kërkohet që territoret që palestinezët kanë në bregun perëndimor do të rrëmbehen edhe më tej nga kolonët qifut. Pra, do të flasim për këtë temë, do të flasim gjithashtu edhe për çështjen e të burgosurve palestinez. Sigur mund të shikoni në posterin që kemi këtu, ndër të tjera, do të flasim edhe për të burgosur palestinez, sikur është Marwan Barghouti. Marwan Barghouti, për ata që nuk e njohin, ka qenë një nga udhëheqësit e Fatahut në bregun perëndimor, një nga udhëheqësit e intifadës së parë dhe të dytë, dhe mbi historikun e Marwan Barghoutit do na flasi djali i tij që kemi në linjë, të cilin do ta lidhim me Skype pas pak. Ne sot na nderon me prezencën e tij zoti Hani Hussein, që është zëvendës ambasador i Palestinës në Shqipëri, i cili do të mbajë një prezantim mbi jetën nën pushtimin izraelit. Përveç Hanit, siç përmenda, do të lidhemi në Skype direkt sa po të mbaroj unë prezantimin me Dr. Mustafa Barghoutin. Dr. Mustafa Barghouti është një politikan dhe aktivist i mirënjohur palestinez, i cili do të flasi për gjendjen në Palestinën e pushtuar sot. Prezantues të tjerë do të kemi zotin Gjergji Thanasi, që është këtu me ne në podium, do të kemi zotin Piro Prifti, do të kemi imam Ervis Jangullin, do të kemi Jonus Remen dhe shumë persona të tjerë. Gjithashtu do të prezantoj edhe unë, për ata njerëz që kanë lexuar shkrimet e mia, në dhjetor, në 20 dhjetor, unë me 3 gazetar të tjerë, shkuam në Palestinë, vizituam Izraelin dhe bregun perëndimor, dhe me video dhe me foto do të tregoj pak a shumë ajo që ndodhi. Nga që jemi shumë vonë dhe në Palestinë tani është koha e iftarit, është ora 7:20, unë do ta ndërpres këtu këtë hyrje që po bëj, dhe do fikim dritat dhe do mundohem që të lidhem me Skype me njerë me Dr. Mustafa Barghoutin. Dr. Mustafa mund flasi rreth 30 minuta dhe më pas do të vazhdojmë programin si më herët.
Know that the Albanian people has always been on the side of the Palestinian people. So what you are doing is fantastic and marvelous, and we appreciate it so much. I want to apologize to you and to your gathering today for not being able to be in person with you because of our commitments here in Palestine. I will respond to your request by explaining the situation. I have to be a bit short because, as you know, it's Ramadan and we have to attend the iftar in a few minutes. But let me start by saying that it is important to understand exactly what's happening today in Palestine. What we have today in Palestine is not only the longest occupation in modern history, which is going to be in 3 days, 52 years since Israel occupied West Bank, Gaza, and East Jerusalem, and of course the Golan Heights of Syria. But also we have just passed the 75th anniversary of the displacement of Palestinians from their original land in Palestine, which has caused the creation of a problem of Palestinian refugees, which are 6.5 million people prevented and prohibited from reaching back to their homes. But more than that, in addition to ethnic cleansing and occupation, Israel has created something that is not yet well known in the world, which is the system of apartheid, the system of racial discrimination that is much worse than what prevailed in South Africa at one point of time. It is a very important point that people in Albania and in the rest of the world should know. This is a system of discrimination which affects Palestinians who live inside 48 areas, affects Palestinians in the West Bank, Gaza, and Jerusalem, as well as Palestinians who are living in the diaspora. This system of apartheid, the segregation, the Jewish national law, which says that Palestine is a national Jewish home only and the right of self-determination is for Jewish people only. All of these acts and activities, besides what Israel is doing on the ground, has consolidated a system of apartheid that should be brought down. Add to that the unacceptable and the horrible siege on Gaza. Gaza has been under siege during the last 11 years. Israel attacked Gaza 4 times during this period, including the devastating war which happened in 2014 that destroyed 25% of all homes in Gaza. Today, 52% of the people in Gaza are unemployed. About 80% of young graduates in Gaza are unemployed. 95% of water is salinated, is salted or polluted. The sea is polluted. The siege is affecting every aspect of daily life. And that's why we have a severe humanitarian crisis there. But not only there. Today, the Israeli army, in one of the holiest days of Ramadan, attacked the Palestinians and the Muslims inside the Al-Aqsa Mosque. They attacked the mosque, they threw tear gas bombs and shot bullets inside the mosque itself because they wanted to allow 1,200 illegal Israeli settlers to enter the mosque on one, as I said, of the most holy days in Palestinian calendar. But let me tell you that the attack today in the mosque will not and did not affect our determination to keep Al-Aqsa and to keep Jerusalem as Palestinian as always. Last Friday, I was myself in Jerusalem. I am prohibited from entering Jerusalem since 2005. So I sneak in to get there. And like many Palestinians who are prohibited, we managed to enter Jerusalem. What we found on that day, last Friday, during the day and the night, 500,000 Palestinians, 500,000, managed to get to Jerusalem. And that is a very important message that is sent to the Israelis and to the whole world, that all the Israeli measures, the occupation, the apartheid, has not broken our spirit and will not break our determination to have our own independent, free Palestine in Palestine. I want to tell you that what we see everywhere is determination to stand up to the most recent dangerous development, which was declared recently by the American administration, of the so-called the deal of the century. This is not a deal to solve the problem. This is not even a proposal to have negotiations to solve the problem. The American deal is nothing but an actual, literal repetition of what Netanyahu wrote in his book in 1994, in which the book was called A Place Under the Sun, and his whole text was about preventing establishment of a Palestinian independent sovereign state. It was about annexing the West Bank. It was about Judaizing Jerusalem. It was about preventing any possibility of peace. And unfortunately, this American team, Mr. Kushner, Greenblatt, Friedman, and the others, are nothing and acting. They're not acting except as practically representatives of the Israeli government. And everything they are doing, everything they are proposing is violating the international law, including the recognition of Jerusalem as a capital of Israel, including the recognition of the annexation of the Golan Heights, which really violates the basic international law. Now they are trying even to call for a meeting in Manama, in Bahrain, to normalize relations with Israel at the expense of the Palestinian people, claiming that they have an economic solution instead of a real solution to the Palestinian issue. This will not work. Let me assure you that after all the suffering we had, the Palestinian people is more determined than any time before to stand up to defend its rights. The Palestinian people will never give up. We will never accept to be slaves of occupation or slaves of a system of apartheid. And the so-called the deal of the century will not work. It will not pass. And the meeting in Manama and Bahrain will not be successful for one very simple reason, which is that we, the Palestinians, are not going to attend it. We will boycott it as much as we are also boycotting this American administration that is violating the rights of the Palestinian people and violating international law in every aspect and every respect. I must tell you that I am proud to be a Palestinian. I'm proud of our people. If you've been with us last Friday in Jerusalem, in the streets of Jerusalem, the weather was very hot and people gathered from everywhere. It was so crowded. But what impressed me most was so many Palestinians were trying to help other Palestinians in every possible way, even by spraying some water on them in the middle of the heat. That feeling of solidarity, that feeling of collectiveness, that feeling of support to each other, that feeling of unity resembles what we lived in during the first Intifada, which I am proud of being part of. The first Intifada presented to the world an amazing popular uprising that believed and practiced self-organization, practiced self-reliance, and also defied and practiced defiance of Israeli occupation and the oppression that Palestinians are subjected to. We have lost a lot. We have many martyrs who were killed. We have more than 7,500 men and women in Israeli prisons, including no less than 300 children. But that did not and will not break our will. We need your solidarity. We need your support. We need you to show to the people of Albania the real truth about the reality in Palestine. We want you to convey the real message about what we live in, because we believe that the people who stand up with the Palestinian people, the people who support Palestinians, whether in Albania or in other countries, are very instrumental, very important for us to achieve the goals we are aiming at and the goals we are struggling for. Let me tell you, I believe that one day this suffering will end. One day, and not long from now, the Palestinian people will be free. And when we celebrate that day of freedom, and when we celebrate that day of independence, like South African people did against the system of apartheid, we will remember all those friends, all those wonderful people like yourselves who stood up with us, who stood up against the wave of racism and extremism that is practiced by the Israeli government. Let me tell you one thing that I always remember. We, the Palestinian people, and I repeat here the words of Tawfiq Zayyad, who was the mayor of Nazareth in Palestine, who said he was a poet, but also he was a wonderful politician who struggled for his people. He said one phrase that always brings good memories to me. He said, we, the Palestinians, are not better than any other people, but no other people in the world is better than us. We want equality, we want to be accepted as equal human beings, and we want to practice our rights. Nelson Mandela said in South Africa, when South Africa became free, he said, our freedom in South Africa will not be complete till Palestinians are free. And he also said that Palestine has become the most important moral issue of our time. I believe you believe that. I believe that your solidarity and support goes with that. So thank you for everything you do for Palestine. Thank you for your solidarity. Thank you for allowing me to speak to you today. And I do hope that one day we will be able to meet in person. And I am really looking forward for that opportunity of visiting your wonderful country. I wish you the best, and I wish you very big success in this day. And I thank you again for your support to the Palestinian people.
We thank you also very much, and we are really glad to hear your thoughts. Now, since many people in our public, some do not understand English, would you give us like 4 minutes time until I make a summary for them, and would you have time to answer to any question that somebody can make from the audience, or you are late?
I have really to go, but we have 3-4 minutes. If you have a question,
all right.
Maybe we can.
All right. So okay. So I'm not translating. I want to ask from the audience if there is somebody who has any question. Georgi, you have something? Yes, we have Mr. Georgi Thanasi. He is a journalist, and he has a question for you.
What about the plan of Jared Kushner to send to Palestine billions of dollars from Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, etc., to reorganize or to resuscitate the economy of Palestine? Is it something feasible? Thank you.
Did you hear the question?
Yes, yes.
All right.
This is not a plan to support Palestinian economy. It is a misleading plan. It is not true. They speak about bringing money from Arab countries to support Palestinians through Israel and through the Americans. If the Arab countries want to support us, they don't need an American or an Israeli mediator. We're asking them to help us immediately. But let me tell you, their aim is to liquidate the political issue, to liquidate our right to have Jerusalem as our capital, to liquidate our right to have an independent state and substitute that with some economic development. The plan includes keeping Palestine as Bantustans and cantons under Israeli authority, under Israeli occupation. How can we develop an economy if we cannot control our borders? How can we develop an economy if we cannot control our import and export? How can we control our economy when Israel is controlling 70% of our tax revenue that Palestinians pay? If the United States was truthful about supporting our economy, why the Americans have cut all the American aid to Palestinians, including to the government and to the Palestinian civil society? Why the Americans have cut support to United Nations Relief and Work Agency, which is supporting Palestinian refugees, UNRWA? Why do they do all of that? If the Americans want our economy to develop, why do they prevent us with the Israelis from controlling our natural resources, from controlling even our water? 85% of water resources in West Bank and Gaza is controlled by Israel. So this is not really a plan to develop our economy. It's a myth. It's an effort to give a bribe, a small bribe, to Palestinians so that we would sell Jerusalem and sell Palestine. We told them very clearly, Palestine is not for sale, Jerusalem is not for sale. We will not accept any alternative to having freedom and full sovereignty in our own independent and free state. Then we can have real economic development.
Thank you very much, Dr. Barghouti. We understand that now is iftar time in Palestine, so we pray to Allah that He accepts your fasting. We hope to see you in Tirana in the near future, and to see what we can do to help you in your struggle for freedom and independence. Thank you so much.
I promise you I will try my best to come and visit your wonderful country. So let's stay in touch. Thank you so much for inviting.
Thank you so much. Dhe personi që ne do të marrim me Skype tani, ai quhet Arab Barghouti. Arabi është djali i Mervanit, sikur përmenda. Mervani është në burg, e kanë burgosur autoritetet izraelite që nga 16 prilli i vitit 2002. Mervani ka qenë një nga personat kryesor që ka udhëhequr rezistencën e palestinezëve dhe atë që njihet si intifada Intifada ka qenë lëvizja e protestës që bonin palestinezët kur protestonin kundër autoriteteve izraelite të cilat I vinin me tanke dhe me armë ndërsa palestinezët qellonin mbrapa me gur. Marvani kishte potencial që të bëhej një nga udhëheqësit kryesor të shtetit të Palestinës dhe televizjes së Fatahut. Shumë veta e shikonin si personi që edhe mund të trashëgonte Yasser Arafatin, por autoritetet palestineze e kanë burgosur atë sikur kanë burgosur me mira palestinez të cilët bahen nëpër burgjet e Izraelit. Megjithatë, babai I tij vazhdon rezistencën, shumë persona arabin e përshkruajnë si Mandela I Palestinës, për ata persona që dinë historinë e Nelson Mandelës dhe apartheidit, kur zezakët e Afrikës së Jugut shtypeshin nga regjimi I bardh apartheidal dhe Nelson Mandela me lëvizjen e tij kombëtare afrikane I rezistonin këtij regjimi dhe paka shumë babai I arabit shihet nga shumë persona si një udhëheqës I ri. Hello, Mr. Arab, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So we can see you very well. If you can sit, it will be great.
Yeah, I'm gonna just close the
Yeah.
sound.
All right. So we are here in Tirana, capital of Albania, where we are organizing an event called the Night of Palestine. And in the Night of Palestine, that we do it every year, we gather and we speak about the suffering of the Palestinian people. And we are dozens of people sitting here, and we can see you even when you talk to your mom or whoever you're talking.
Yeah.
So, and you are on camera. So we would like, if you can, to tell us something about the struggle of the Palestinians nowadays, the suffering of the prisoners, and the history of your father, and why the Israeli authorities have gone against your father and they have jailed him. So everybody is listening to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Is the voice clear?
Excellent.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you so much for having me. We're really thrilled whenever we hear any event or any group of people gathering to support the Palestinian cause. And in doing that, we know that you're not only supporting the Palestinian cause, but you're supporting justice in the whole world. To cut it short, my name is Arab Barghouti. I'm 28 years old. And I've lived my whole life in Palestine. I happen to be the son of one of thousands of prisoners that are at the moment in Israeli prisons. As you all know, Marwan Barghouti is a Palestinian leader who has been resisting the Israeli occupation for more than 4 decades, since he was 18 years old when he got arrested the first time, and then he got out of prison, and then he went on and off to prison many times until he got exiled by the Israeli occupation outside of Palestine. Then he came back with the Palestinian Authority back in 1994, and after that he got elected in the first parliamentarian elections in Palestinian history after the creation of the Palestinian Authority. As a Palestinian parliament member, he was doing his role during the era of 2000 when Ariel Sharon went to Al-Aqsa, and that started and sparked the second Intifada in Al-Aqsa. And as a parliamentarian, he was expressing himself by telling the people that this won't be an uprising or an intifada for 1 or 2 days or even 1 or 2 months. This is going to be years after disappointments of the Oslo resolution that disappointed every Palestinian. And which led all of the peace process in general and of the two-state solution. So the second Intifada started, and he started doing his job, which is representing the Palestinian people with their disappointment and of the situation. After that, when he led Intifada, 2 years later, I still remember when I was 11 years old, the Israeli soldiers came to our house and started kicking us out of the living room, and they put us in one bedroom, me, my brother, my sister, and my mother for 4 days, and they searched the whole house. They put the Israeli flag on our balcony, and this is an experience that you won't forget, because you saw the occupation with your own eyes. You saw them in your own bedroom, and that's a memory that you won't forget. After that, 2 months after that, we heard on the news that Marwan Barghouti has been arrested from Ramallah, and he was kidnapped because they violated many international laws when they did that. The first one is to move someone from his own territory. The second one is to put him in another country. And the third one is to capture and kidnap a Palestinian parliamentarian with immunity, which is against all international laws. And since then, I was 11 years old. Since then, my father has been in Israeli jails, and I've been visiting him regularly. The first 4 years, I used to visit him twice a month. After that, I started visiting him 2 to 3 years. I haven't seen him in that I spent years seeing him, and I should notice here that this is not something that we want to show off about, because this is an experience that thousands of Palestinian families are experiencing. It's not with one or two prisoners, it's with all Palestinian prisoners. And everyone should know one information about Palestinian prisoners. 25% of the Palestinian population has been imprisoned at least once in their lives in the last 50 years. The conviction rate against Palestinians from the Israeli court is 99.7%, which is an all-time high in the whole world. So basically, if you're a Palestinian, you're going to be guilty no matter what. And as his family, we're not getting any opportunity to go see him. I haven't touched my father in 17 years. I can't even shake his hand, and that, of course, violates all international laws. And I'm here to share.
Do the Israelis allow you to talk to him on the phone?
So yeah, as I mentioned, I go visit him sometimes every few months, sometimes every few years. So they decide when to give you permission, and they decide when not to give you a permission. So for example, my mother hasn't been able to see him for more than 2 years because they decided to ban her from visiting him back in 2017 until 2019. And then they came and extended that to 2020, which means that they are doing the same with administrative detention. So they're not only punishing the prisoners, they're also punishing the families of the prisoners from seeing their loved ones just because they represent the Palestinian cause and they represent the struggle of the Palestinians.
Great. Do you have time? Do you have time so that I can give a summary to our audience about what you said, because some they don't understand English. Atëherë pak a shumë arabi flit për ata që nuk kuptojnë anglishtën, dha një prezantim për historinë e babait të vet, se si ai është arrestuar nga autoritetet izraelite, se si ata e mbajnë të izoluar, se si ata nuk lejojnë familjen e tij që ta shohë babain, tregoi që mamaja e tij kishte 2 vite që se kishte parë babain. Dhe Marvani, sigur ju thash edhe më herët, është një nga udhëheqësit e lëvizjes palestineze. A ka dikush ndonjë pyetje për Arabin? Okay, Arab, I want to make you a question. How many children are you in your family?
So we're four. I'm the youngest one. Qassam is 33. Ruba is 32, which is my sister. My brother Sharaf is 30, and I'm 29. So we're four in the family.
Who gave you the name Arab? Who gave you the name Arab? Was it your father?
Sorry?
Who gave you the name Arab? Was it your father?
Yes, my father has always believed in the... Yes, so basically my father believes in the Arabic nationality, and he believes that Arabs should unite to be stronger. So he named me that, and it's actually in Arab.
All right, good. We have Mr. Gjergji Thanasi. He's a Christian journalist from Albania, so he'd like to make you a question.
And
My question is, has Amnesty International adopted the case of your father as a prisoner of conscience? Thank you.
Did you hear the question? Arab, are you there? Are you following us?
no, can you repeat, please?
Yeah, Mr. Gjergji made a question to you, and he asked you.
Yeah, so we have the campaign, an international campaign. It's called the International Campaign for the Freedom of Marwan Barghouti and all Palestinian political prisoners. And this campaign has reached out to many countries like South Africa, like France, Chile. Many European parliamentarians have expressed their support for my father's campaign. Many municipalities in France and in many countries gave my father the honor citizenship, and it's really great and overwhelming the support we've gained. And my father is, by the way, nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize, and was nominated by 7 nominations from different Nobel Peace Prize laureates like Jimmy Carter, like Angela, like Desmond Tutu, and many others who showed their support for my father and his cause.
Great. Okay, thank you so much. We really appreciate you being with us and honoring us. Today, your father is the main hero of our event. We have his poster, and we are going to talk about other prisoners of war suffer in the Israeli jail. We hope that this event in Palestine will somehow impact the issue of the Palestinian question, the fight for freedom of the people of Palestine. Thank you very much for explaining to us about your father and joining us. Ju falenderojmë për durimin tuaj. Pak a shumë Dr. Mustafa Barghouti dhe djali I Marwan Barghoutit shpjeguan mbi vuajtjet që sot kanë palestinezët. Gjatë kësaj kohe shumë prej jush erdhën që nuk ishin më herët. Nëse ka dikush ndonjë pyetje mund na e bëj. Përndryshe, sikur përmendëm edhe në fillim të eventit ton, ne sot me ne kemi zotin Hani Hussein. Hani është zëvendës ambasadori I Palestinës në Shqipëri. Dhe Hani do të flasi për jetën në pushtimin izraelit. Hanin do ta përkthej unë. So Hani, you're going to talk about living in Palestine and I'm going to translate you. Kush ka pyetje, ti mbaj shënim dhe mund të na I bëni më fund. Thank you, Hani.
Mirbrama, thank you all for coming. First of all, I would like to thank Allsea for preparing for this event and make it come true. He did his best to have this event, by the way. Appreciate it, Olsi. Thank you. Thank for the Free Media Institute. Appreciate it a lot. As Olsi said, my name is Hani Hussein. I'm living in Tirana since almost 8 years to 9 years. I'm working in the embassy. Before I come to Albania, actually I have no idea about Albania that much, about the Albanian people. But, and even I didn't expect I will stay that much in Albania. But since I started working in Albania, I liked it. I found like Albania and Albanian people is very similar to Palestine. Even the culture, the mentality, we have many things in common. That's why I liked Albania, and I like to stay a lot in Albania and to keep working in Albania for more than 4 years as it was supposed. The second thing, I would like to clarify something about the Albanian-Palestinian relation. Albania was one of the first countries supported our case and our struggle against the Israeli occupation. The relation started since 1960s, and Albania was one of the first countries recognized Palestine as a state in 1989. And since that time, we have an embassy in Albania.
Hani pak a shumë tha që do të thënë kam prej shumë vitesh jam në Shqipëri se I humba edhe detajet. Më pëlqen shumë Shqipëria, kemi pak a shumë të njëjtën kulturë. Shqipëria është një vend që e ka njohur Palestinën që prej when did Albania recognize Palestine this year? 1989. E ka njohur kemi hapur ambasadën këtu në 1988-ën, Shqipëria na ka njohur që në 1989-ën.
And in general, even politically, we have good relation with Albania, the government. The government has supported Palestine most of the time by voting for the Palestinian case in United Nations all time. I decided like somehow to do my best to have a short briefing for the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. As all you know, in the media you always hear about the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, and it's like a long history till the present time.
Unë po dua që pak a shumë të bëj një prezantim mbi konfliktin izraelito-palestinez, se çfarë dëgjoni ju në media është diçka tjetër, ma bëni halal nëse po humpas në një fjalë nga atë që po thot Hani, po se kam shumë menjen. Dhe nëse harroj një gjë edhe më korrigjoni.
To give you a short briefing to understand what is the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, Palestine was part of Ottoman Empire 100 years ago. And after the Ottoman Empire collapsed, the British Army occupied Palestine. During that time, the British government signed an agreement with the Jewish lobby in Europe to create their own state on Palestine and to support the Israelis to establish their own state on Palestine. At that time, the British government started to support the Jewish people to come from all around the world to settle down in Palestine, and they started to migrate to Palestine and to have their own settlements on the Palestinian land. Meanwhile, the Israelis were well armed by the British government and by the British army, and they started to fight against the Palestinian people and to expel them from their homes. Since beginning of 1900 till 1948. 1948.
Kështu pra që rreth 100 vite më herët, pak a shumë në kohën kur edhe u pushtua Kosova, britanikët e pushtojnë Palestinën, që në të kohë ata bëjnë marrëveshje me çifutët dhe nisin të sjellin çifutët nga e gjithë bota, dhe në të njëjtën kohë nisin dëbimet e para të palestinezëve nga tokat e tyre.
And in 1948, the Israeli immigrants, they established their own state in the Palestinian land. More than 1 million Palestinian refugees, they left their cities and villages after they have been killed and expelled from their areas and homes. And since that time, we have the Palestinian refugees issues since 1948. In 1948, also there was a war with the Israelis that time. The British army left Palestine, and since that time the conflict started officially. And since that time also, we are struggling and fighting against the Israelis in order to have our own state.
Atëherë thotë që nga 48-a kur izraelitët krijojnë shtetin e tyre, ata fillojnë që të na dëbojnë nga tokat tona dhe që atëherë fillon përballja jonë e madhe me izraelitët, s'po e kam menin Gjergjo se e kam menin gjëra të tjera, përkthej faktit pjesën tjetër. Ma bune Allah.
And the Israeli state since 1948 had many wars with the Arabic states and the neighboring states. Also, the Palestinian struggle against the Israelis started officially in 1960s when PLO, which is Palestinian Liberation Organization, was established by the ex-president Yasser Arafat. Yasser Arafat had started the revolution against the Israelis since 1965, and since that time we are in war status. Actually, I don't like to call it a war, but for you in the media you see it as a war, but actually it's not, because it's not like a war between two equal sides. It's actually a war by Israelis against weak people, the Palestinian people.
Që nga viti 1948 janë bërë disa luftra midis Izraelit, palestinezëve dhe shteteve arabe rreth e qarkut Izraelit. Rezistenca palestineze zyrtare filloi në mesin e viteve 60 nga PLO-ja, Organizata e Popullit Palestinës, kryesuar nga indjeri Yasser Arafat. Mund flitet për luftë, por për sa i përket palestinezëve me Izraelin nuk kemi të bëjmë luftë, sepse nga një anë kemi një shtet organizuar dramatosur deri në dhëm, nga ana tjetër kemi një popullsi civile që duhet të luftojë për të mbijetuar.
And since the Palestinian revolution started against Israel in order to establish our own state, at the beginning of 90s, the President Yasser Arafat and the Palestinian leadership, they decided to solve the conflict, and they decided to put an end for the war in Palestine. And we accepted the two-state solution to live in peace with the Israeli state.
Gjatë kësaj kohe, mbas sakrificave shumë të mëdha, mbas luftimesh, mbas pagesës të një çmimi gjaku në fillim të viteve 90, Organizata për Shërimin e Palestinës dhe lideri ynë Yasser Arafati pranoi që të nënshkruante një marrëveshje në prezentën amerikane me izraelitët, duke njohur të drejtën për të ekzistuar të shtetit izraelit, por ama duke njohur të drejtën e dy shteteve, shtetit izraelit, shtetit palestinez, për të jetuar të dyja shtetet në paqe me njëri tjetrin.
And the two-state solution means to have the Palestinian state in 22% of historical Palestine, which we lost completely in 1948, which is called now West Bank and Gaza. This is what we accepted, to have our own state in 22%. And this is the question: what do the Israelis want more? If we accepted the two-state solution and we lost 78% of historical Palestine for them in order to achieve peace, until this moment we are negotiating to get back the 22% by the negotiations. Until now, the Israelis, during this negotiation, they kept expanding the settlements. They kept confiscating more lands to build the new settlements on the West Bank and Gaza, and that's why the negotiation has stopped, and there is no hope for peace for the moment.
Marrëveshja ishte e tillë që nga 100% e sipërfaqes tokës së mandatit të Palestinës në kohën e okuparacionit britanik, 82% e tokës do merrej nga 78% e tokës do i përkiste shtetit Izraelit, 22% shtetit Palestinës. Dhe zotëria ngriti pyetje me drejtë: çfarë duan më shumë që futët nga ne? Kanë marrë 78% të tokës, akoma duan më shumë nga ne? Ne akoma nuk kemi marrë atë 22% që na takon në marrëveshjen që ne njoftëm të drejtën e shtetit Izraelit për të ekzistuar dy shtete të rrojnë në paqe. Akoma vazhdojnë ngritja e këtyre kolonive izraelite në tokat e pushtuara, kurse ne na kanë lënë vetëm rripin e Gazës dhe bregun perëndimor të lumit Jordan. Ky 22% që akoma nuk është dhënë nga Izraeli shtetit të Palestinës.
And in order to explain it better to Albanian friends and Albanian people, I like always to use this word, which gives like a very quick idea about what's going on in Palestine. I say to Albanian friends and Albanian people to clarify or to understand the conflict better, Palestine is Kosovo, Serbia is Israel. This is our problem in Palestine. And
për të sqaruar për ne, zotëria i ra shkurt. Izraeli është Serbia, Palestina është Kosova. Pra, okupacioni është i njëjtë, pavarësisht se ka ato specifikat e veta, dhe këtu besoj çdo shqiptar e kupton se çdo të thotë ti je në okupacionin serb, siç janë këto në okupacionin izraelit.
but the difference that Kosovo becomes an independent state, in our case we are still fighting for our freedom and to have our own state.
Pavarësisht se në letrën e kemi atë dhe unë shtetin tonë independent, ne akoma luftojmë për pavarësinë tonë, për shtetin tonë.
This is in general, it's a long history and you heard about it since long time. It's not easy also to explain it in a few minutes. Anyway, I also like to say some examples about life under occupation. I lived in Palestine, I suffered of this conflict. I been in Israeli jail for 1 year. During my university time, I was political activist in the university. I was the head of the student council, and for this reason, they put me in jail, just for student activities. Even in the jail, when I met the judge, I said to him, accusing me and putting me in Israeli jail for 1 year, just for student activities, it looks like you are judging the whole students in the world. Because all students in the world, they have their own right to demonstrate, to protest against anything they want. And this is what I did, and for this reason I was in Israeli jail for 1 year.
Për t'ju shpjeguar diçka se ç'vojnë palestinezët atje, do t'i drejtohem përvojës time personale. Unë kam qenë 1 vit në burgun izraelit, pra ka qenë 1 vit i burgosur, dhe pse përfundova në burg? Duke qenë student, u mora me aktivitete normale studentore dhe rash në burg. Ju drejtova gjykatësit Çifut duke i thënë që duke më dënuar mua si student palestinez, ju dënoni gjithë studentët e botës, sepse kudo në universitetet e botës studentët kanë të drejtë të protestojnë, studentët kanë të drejtën e lirisë së fjalës e kështu me radhë. Pra, në mënyrë figurative, ai do të bën krahasimin midis lirisë studentore, qoftë edhe këtu ke ne, dhe çekin studentët palestinez në okupacionin izraelit.
And I suffered a lot in this jail, by the way. But at the meantime, I would like to say that it was a good experience for me to be stronger and to fight for my country more and for my people more. In Israeli jails, for the moment, there is around 6,000 Palestinian prisoners. And since 1967, till the moment, more than 1 million Palestinians were arrested and being in Israeli jail.
Normal, në burg do thotë të vuash, por për mua burgu ishte një eksperiencë që më ndihmoi për të bërë më i fortë, dhe dua t'ju them ja 2 shifra. Aktualisht në burgjet izraelite janë 6.000 palestinezë, dhe që nga koha e pushtimit të Izraelit, domethënë nga 48-a e këtej, 1 milion palestinezë në një mënyrë ose në një tjetër kanë kaluar për burgjet e izraelite. Dhe popullsia e Palestinës nuk është popullsia e Kinës, kjo ishte shtesa ime.
This is about being in Israeli jails, and something else I would like to say it, to give you an idea about how is life too there in Palestine. Actually, I'm from a village, it's 20 kilometers far away from the city of Ramallah. To travel from my village to the city, which is just 20 minutes, I have to pass by 3 Israeli checkpoints. These Israeli checkpoints, we have like in a territory in West Bank, we have 600 checkpoints, which looks like when you are traveling to Europe, for example, you have to cross the borders wherever you go. These checkpoints, it make it difficult. And every time we want to travel, just 20 minutes or 20 kilometers. That's why, for example, For me, it's a great pleasure now to drive 5 hours or 4 hours without stopping or just to have a rest of driving. I just like it because there in Palestine, I'm not allowed to drive. Within 20 minutes of driving, I have to stop by 3 borders, which is similar, checkpoints, which is similar to cross 3 borders, international ones, being checked personally, checking the car. I mean, like, even the freedom of movement in Palestine, it's not easy and possible at all.
Jep një shembull nga jeta vet personale. Fshati i këtij nga qyteti është vetëm 20 kilometra larg, por midis fshatit të tij dhe qytetit janë 3 nga 600 postbllogjet e kontrollit që ka Izraeli në gjithë territorin palestinez. Dhe nuk janë postbllogje të thjeshta, janë thuajse si kufit midis shteteve. Pra, në çdo postbllok kontrollohet dokumentacioni i makinës, dokumentacioni i zotërisë, bëhet kontroll trupor, kontroll fizik i makinës dhe i personit. Shumë më keq se sa të kalosh nga Shqipëria, Maqedonia, po Malzi, po marrim shembullin ton. Po ashtu zotëria thotë që për mua është kënaqësi të ndjej lirinë kur unë udhtoj me makinë 4-5 orë pa u ndalur. Ne këtë e kemi diçka krejt zakonshme që t'i japësh makinës 4 orë. Për këtë quhet liri, sepse nuk është mësuar ndonjëherë që mos për çdo 5-6 kilometra mos ndeshi një postblok izraelit. Krahasimi besoj se është i kapshëm.
Something else, you hear in TV all time about Gaza and in TV you always hear about Gaza and the conflict on Gaza and the Israeli war on Gaza. I would like to explain something about Gaza. Gaza, the space of Gaza, is half Dures. It's 360 kilometers square, which is half Dures. And inside this 360 kilometers square, there is almost 2 million Palestinians living inside Gaza. It's the highest populated area in the world. And there was just 4 wars by Israelis within the last 10 years against Gaza. You hear also on TV or the media that the Palestinian terrorism, this is what the propaganda in the TV, that the Palestinians, they are terrorists, Palestinians, they are fighting against Israel, they are terrorists, and they are accusing us of being terrorists. I would like to explain something in this point. We are not doing something new as a Palestinian nation. We are doing as what all nations in the world did. We are fighting for our freedom. Even the Americans, who is like accusing us of terrorism, they were the ones who said long time ago in their struggle to have their own independence, give me liberty or give me death. We are just fighting for our freedom as all nations did in the world.
Zotëria shpjegon çështjen specifike të rripit Gazës, ka një sipërfaqe 640 km2, sa gjysma e qarkut Durrësit dhe banojnë 2 milion banor. Mund të imagjinohet se sa vështirësi e kanë ato 2 milion banor në rripin e Gazës. Zotëria ngul këmbë ke çështja e terrorizmit. Akuzohemi për terrorist. Po vetë amerikanët kur ishin në pushtimin anglez 200 e kusur vjet më parë, përdorën të tilla taktika për të arritur lirinë e tyre. Palestinezët thjesht po kopjojnë amerikanët, po janë 200 vjet mbrapa amerikanëve për sa i përket luftës kundra Izraelit për të arritur lirinë e tyre. Ky ishte thelbi.
And this is what we are doing for the moment in Palestine. We are trying to solve the conflict peacefully. We accepted to negotiate with the Israelis. We are doing our best through the international organizations to solve the conflict and to have our own state in Palestine. Thank you all once again for coming. And if anybody would like to ask a question, you're welcome.
Kuptohet, ne përpiqemi që ta zgjidhim sa më paqësisht konfliktin tonë me Izraelin, por faktet janë këto fakte dhe ne duam të jetojmë në paqe me fëmijët tanë izraelit, duke ju falenderuar për pjesëmarrjen. Nëse dikush këtu ka një pyetje, unë jam në dispozicion të tij.
Now, since you progress in Kosovo and Palestine, we want to know what is the stance of Palestine towards Kosovo and China.
the Palestinian government and the Palestinian leadership, they are supporting the international resolutions regarding the case of Kosovo. We hope in the future we will have mutual recognition with Kosovo. And by the way, we tried long time ago to have a mutual recognition, but maybe for the future it will happen, and we don't know for the moment, but we tried. And actually it's like, it's in Kosovo side more, because we tried long time ago, and Kosovo government didn't accept to have the mutual recognition for the moment. But officially we are supporting the international resolutions regarding the case of Kosovo.
Zyrtarisht qeveria palestineze, shteti palestinez për krah rezoluta ndërkombëtare, rezolutat e OKB-s për çështjen e Kosovës. Pak kohë më parë ne jemi pjekur që të arrijmë një njohje reciproke të Kosovës dhe Palestinës, pra të njihjen reciprokisht të dy shtetet, por nuk e kemi arritur këtë, më shumë për shkak të Kosovës se sa tonën. Aktualisht ne qëndrojmë për krahjes rezolutave ndërkombëtare për Kosovën. Shpresojmë që në të ardhmen të arrihet që ne të njohim shtetin e Kosovës, Kosova të njohë shtetin e Palestinës.
Keni pyetje tjetër? Okej, pak a shumë do të thënë çfarë tha Hani edhe një herë që ta përmbledhim, sidomos për shumë islamofob që sulmojnë palestinezët dhe arabët. Hani, zvendës ambasadori i Palestinës, do ta filmojni këtë, kush ka kështu smartphone-a, filmojni, ta nxjerrim në YouTube që ta shohin ata që thonë Palestina nuk e njeh Kosovën. Pra, zvendës ambasadori i Palestinës tha që ne duam ta njohim Kosovën si shtet, duam që të bëjmë njohje reciproke, por topi ka ngelur te pala kosovare. Can you repeat it in English, what you said again about Kosovo? That you want to recognize, but...
Long time, it was like 9 years ago, there was like a meeting between the embassy and a delegation from Kosovo, and we were discussing the mutual recognition of both states. Anyway, it didn't take place, but this is the official position for the moment. We are supporting the international resolutions regarding Kosovo case, and we hope in the future we will have mutual recognition and normal relation too. The second part, I will tell you something. As people, as Palestinian people, we feel the suffering of Kosovo people, because we are still living actually under occupation, and we are understanding the suffering of the other nations who are suffering to have their own freedom and to have their own state. That's why we have something in common even with Albanians living in Kosovo. We can understand them and they can understand us more than other nations in the world, because they suffered and we are still suffering.
Ngul këm përsëri dhe thekson që kohë më parë ka pasur një takim zyrtar midis palës kosovare dhe palestineze për sa i përket njohjes reciproke të dy shteteve, njohje diplomatike. Nuk u arrit në këtë takim që të realizohej njohja reciproke. Ne vazhdojmë të qëndrojmë vendimit që ne përkrahim të gjitha rezolutat ndërkombëtare, rezolutat e OKB-s për Kosovën. Për momentin kaq shpresojmë që në të ardhmen ky pozicion të ndrojë. Ne e kuptojmë se jemi ende në okupacion për vete, e kuptojmë se çka vuajtur populli shqiptar i Kosovës nën pushtimin serb.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hani. And if Gjergji would allow me, I want to present before him, because I'm fasting, you're not fasting. I mean, you know what you do.